Today, we're going to dive into a really powerful Hindi moral story called Tan Ka Kahar, which basically means the havoc of cold. And really, it's this incredible tale about one man's fight for his family against, well, everything: a brutal storm, crushing poverty, and a moneylender with a heart of stone.
So the story just drops us right into the middle of this brutal January night. And the cold, it's not just a number on a thermometer. The way it's described, it's like a physical attack, as if the air itself is filled with tiny shards of glass. And if that wasn't enough, there's this icy rain coming down like needles, and a thick fog that's been smothering the village for days, just breaking everyone's spirit.
All right, so let's set the scene. It's a dark, stormy night, and we're inside this little broken-down hut. This is where we meet our main character, Ramu, and his family, all just huddled together trying to survive the cold.
You see, Ramu is basically fighting a war on two fronts. Inside the hut, things are dire. His son Muna is burning up with a fever. The roof is leaking all over the place, and there isn't a single piece of dry firewood to get a flame going. But the threat from the outside, it's just as cold and unforgiving. The local moneylender, Seth Girdhari, is demanding his money by noon the next day, or he's going to throw them all out into that very storm.
And it's Ramu's wife, Radha, who puts their deepest fear into words. It's a question that just lays out the life or death stakes they're facing. She asks, if our roof is snatched away in this cold and rain, where will we go with this sick child? You know, this isn't just about losing their home. For them, it's a potential death sentence.
Ramu knows that just staying put is not an option. That's a disaster waiting to happen. So he makes this incredibly dangerous decision. He decides he has to go out into that storm-ravaged forest to find dry wood. It's his only shot, his only hope to get money for medicine and to get the moneylender off his back.
Okay, so armed with nothing but his axe and a whole lot of desperate hope, Ramu steps out of the hut and heads towards the forest, leaving the tiny bit of warmth his family has behind him.
And just before he leaves, we see these quiet, beautiful moments of love and sacrifice that really define their relationship. Radha offers him the very last piece of food they have in the house, a stale roti, but Ramu, he won't take it. He saves it for his son. Then she sees his shoes are completely broken, so she makes him wrap his feet in old sacks to protect them from the freezing mud. I mean, these are small things, but they show you just how strong their bond really is.
On his way out of the village, Ramu runs into a wise old man, Kaka. Now, the Kaka warns him about all the dangers out there in the forest. You know, quicksand, forest guards, but then he gives him this absolutely profound piece of advice. He says, "Son Ramu, don't lose courage. A poor man's greatest weapon is his endurance." And honestly, those words become a kind of lifeline for Ramu on this impossible journey.
So as Ramu pushes deeper into the storm, his journey becomes this incredible look at both humanity and injustice. He's about to encounter the absolute worst of his world, but also these small, little embers of hope that somehow keep him going.
First, he meets his childhood friend Madhav, and seeing the state Ramu's in, Madhav gives him 10 rupees he absolutely cannot spare, and he wraps it carefully in plastic to keep it dry. But even more important than the money, he gives him a plan. He says find some dry wood, but don't sell it in the village market. Take it to the city. You'll get a much better price. It's a small gesture, really, but for Ramu, it's a huge spark of hope.
Deeper in the forest, Ramu finds another man, Suresh, who's also out there struggling to cut down a tree. And it turns out their stories are just tragically similar. Ramu is out there fighting for his sick son, and Suresh, he's fighting for his sick mother. They're just two men, bound by the exact same desperate love for their families.
So realizing they're basically in the same boat, they decide to work together. And with their combined strength, they actually manage to bring down this massive babul tree. And even though it's silky and wet on the outside, the core, the wood on the inside, is still dry. It's a small win, for sure, but against that storm, it feels huge.
After this grueling journey back to town, Ramu comes face to face with his biggest obstacle yet. But right at the moment he's about to lose all hope, help shows up from a complete and total stranger.
Ramu goes straight to the moneylender, Seth Girdhari, who just scoffs at what he calls the wet garbage Ramu has brought him. And this is where Ramu really confronts the systemic cruelty of his world. He pleads with the guy, explaining the wood is dry on the inside, that it's worth at least 150 rupees, but the Seth just exploits his desperation, cruelly offering him a measly 100. And when Ramu refuses, the Seth uses his power to blacklist him, telling every other merchant in the market not to buy his wood.
So just try to imagine this moment. Ramu's standing there in the mud. He's soaked to the bone. His last hope is completely crushed. The sky is getting dark again,
and the rain is starting back up. I mean, what can he possibly do now? And right then, just as despair is about to take over, a car pulls up. It's this kind gentleman who's stuck at a resort nearby without any dry firewood. He asks Ramu if his wood is for sale. And seeing the condition Ramu's in, he doesn't even haggle. He just offers him 300 rupees. That's 3 times what the moneylender offered, and way more than Ramu could have ever dreamed of.
This moment right here is the turning point. Armed with this small fortune, Ramu's journey is no longer about survival. It transforms into a story of courage and ultimately a victory.
And his first actions tell you everything you need to know about this man's character. He doesn't run straight to the moneylender. Nope. Instead, he buys medicine for his son, he buys food for his family, and he gets a plastic sheet to patch up their leaking roof. He makes sure his family is secure before he even thinks about settling his debt.
And when you look at the final numbers, you see the real scale of his victory. After paying off the full 200 rupee debt to the moneylender, he still had 100 rupees left over for his family's needs. He didn't just break even, he actually came out ahead.
With this newfound strength, he walks right up to the safe, slaps the 200 rupees down on the table and says, "Here's your money. Now don't you even dare look towards my house again." In that one moment, he's not a victim anymore. He's a victor who has taken back his dignity.
So the story ends right back where it began, in that little hut. But now, everything has changed. The storm is still raging outside, but inside, a small fire, lit with the very wood Ramu fought so hard for, is burning brightly. His son has his medicine, their roof is finally dry, and the family is all together, safe and warm.
And the story leaves us with this one last, incredibly powerful thought. They didn't have any wealth. They had no security for tomorrow. But in that moment, they had each other, they had a warm fire, and they had the peace that comes from winning a hard-fought battle. And sometimes, the story tells us, that is more than enough to live.